Postulation, if one assumes that they're
in this country who know the total amount of, you mean why you're, you see, I said
Africans.
Oh, this tells Mr. Buckley why I think one can't deal
what,
constructively with questions like the one you were asking about what about killing, setting up a program to kill half the people in Africa.
Yeah.
I think we should, you see, I set up an even wider thing, and I say this leads me to an absurdity. I think your question also leads to an absurdity.
Yeah,
but
I want to know why it's an absurdity. I don't think these graphs help. Do they?
Oh, you mean why your example is an absurdity?
Yes.
Well, we should explore that more, you see. I think you didn't describe how these people would be killed. This would, in my standards, be a very important factor.
Painlessly.
Painlessly.
Yeah.
And so the total amount of happiness might be greater in that group of people. But would it be greater for you, Mr. Buckley, if you knew your country were doing this?
No.
Well, you see, not everybody would be happier. The citizens in this country who might share emotions like mine and my concern postulate, which was a third of the three moral postulates, truth, concern, death, I think would be unhappy with this too. And how about the people who remained? Do you think they would be happy to have their brothers, their cousins killed off this way? I'm not at all sure that your proposal would lead to anything like a maximum of happiness.
Well, again, this would be a postulation. If one assumes that there are two people in a room both starving to death, and the disappearance of one ends the problem of starvation for the other, there is, I think, almost a biologically ineluctable
well, this gets close to the problem solved by this, what was it, a basketball team in the Andes?
Yes.
In which they were reduced to cannibalism, and they did a lot of soul searching, and I have no quarrel with what they had to
they ate corpses. Yeah.
Well, the same thing could happen, you see, in the other area. And it might be that a group of people would gather together and they'd say, we have a contribution. It may be they've discovered some new, unique source of energy, and there are only 10 of them. And if they don't arrive back, they know that some part of civilization will be greatly damaged by this loss.
Even though that video you just watched was from a long time ago, different to shoulder its responsibility by promoting climate abortion. Climate abortion would be a small step for a person but a giant leap for humanity. He said the solution for the climate crisis is to give more abortions to African women. How disgusting is this person? To solve the climate crisis, you need to promote abortion in Africa? He didn't say in his own country, he didn't say in any part of the world, but he specifically said abortion in Africa. Things are not being born, which she was talking about abortion, then what he was saying about different way, like changed up their
civilization will be greatly damaged by this loss.
Even though that video you just watched was from a long time ago, that sentiment is still alive, even though some of them have changed up their vocabulary or are giving us what they're talking about in a different way, like forced sterilization. We've talked about this before. Or the Finland minister, what he was saying about Africans and how if enough Africans were not being born, which she was talking about abortion, then this world would be a better place. Finland minister just resigned, and the reason is because Balaam said, addressing the parliament, quote, "It would be justified for Finland to shoulder its responsibility by promoting climate abortion. Climate abortion would be a small step for a person but a giant leap for humanity." He said the solution for the climate crisis is to give more abortions to African women. How disgusting is this person? To solve the climate crisis, that agenda is the youth, that instead of focusing on when in fact, to, as you heard